Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 70. My name is Victor Vasquez. Appreciate you joining me on another movie discussion where we cover a new film that came out in theaters, give you our overall thoughts, opinions, and then decide whether it is timeless. I'm excited not only because of the movie that we're going to be covering, but also if you guys have been keeping up, if you've been doing your homework, every 5th episode, we're going to have somebody join us on the podcast. That is right, is the return of my brother, Omar Vasquez. Omar, how's it going, man?
Every five.
Doing an every 5 chant. Dude, you've kept it pretty consistent, man, and I really appreciate the discipline that you've made to come every 5th episode.
Hey, look, man, sometimes I want to break this little... I gotta keep with it, you know?
Yeah. Dude, there's been a lot of movies.
I'm tempted to break it sometimes, but every 5 is pretty cool. Because I like multiples of 5 to begin with.
Yes. Civil War was almost the movie that almost made you break it. I don't know if you remember, after we watched Civil War, you were like, "Dang, I think I might have to jump on and talk about it." And then
because there was I wanted to talk a lot about. Might I just start talking about it right now?
We could if you want, but we'll point them to the other review that we did there.
Yeah.
But Omar, appreciate you, man, joining us. This week's episode, what we're going to be talking about is a new film in the Planet of the Apes universe. It is called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It is directed by Wes Bell, and I'm super excited to watch it just because of the fact that I always felt the feeling of trying to check out some of the other films. So just a little bit of a background on folks that are listening. I feel like I've watched maybe the first one, which I think was called Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco. That's all I remember the details, and I know that it's Caesar. I don't remember any other details of that nature. I don't know what happened in the rest of the films. I do know that Matt Reeves directed one of them.
I think the second one.
Or second one, yeah, something like that. That's basically what I know about the story. And so I just kind of felt like this is a great fresh start for, at least for me, to check out these new films and come in with like a different perspective. What about you, Mr. Have you checked out these movies? Have you seen anything about them at all?
No. I mean, same like you. I think I started watching the second one. I forgot what it's called.
I think War of the Planet of the Apes or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes? Dawn of the Planet
War is the third one.
Yeah, that's right.
I started watching the second one. I didn't finish it for some reason.
Got it.
I don't remember why. But there's still movies I still want to watch.
Yeah.
Like that temptation hasn't gone away. I still like watching. And the originals, haven't seen them.
Yeah, I've never seen the originals, like the OG ones.
Like, all I know is, like, from The Simpsons. Like, when they did that musical, when they did a musical about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's how most people's memory of the Planet of the Apes is, too. Awesome. Hey, well, guys, that's the movie we're going to be covering. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of segue into our overall thoughts. Non-spoiler, me and Omar will kind of give you a little bit of the details about what we thought after we got out of the movie theater. And so... I'll go ahead and kick things off, and then Omar, feel free to kind of jump in and sprinkle in anything you want. After I got to check out Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I was actually pretty blown away. I had a great movie experience. I'm going to say this, and again, I probably sound like I exaggerate a lot in different episodes because I normally do. That's just who I am. But I can honestly say that I think this film probably has the best visuals that I've seen this year. This year, if we're talking about films like Dune, Late Night with the Devil, Civil War, I think this movie created some insane visual effects. Maybe that has to do with that I didn't watch any of the previous trilogies with Caesar and the other Planet of the Apes films, that I'm not used to seeing this kind of realism with apes. But man, I thought the CGI was incredible. Like everything from the way that every ape looked different, and they had different facial features, and they had something very distinct between each one, and you could tell who was who sometimes, you know, even if you didn't know their name.
Yeah.
But that to me was, again, that kind of blew me away. The visuals it was insane. I also like the kind of like the aesthetics of the whole film. It felt like, again, post-apocalyptic, but it almost kind of gave a different type of a vibe. Like, again, it's not like, you know, it's still the end of what we used to know as humanity. Now it's like a new world.
But it doesn't feel like...
it doesn't feel like it's something that like a nuclear bomb went off or like nothing like that. It's like evolution almost like that. Like it's just a whole new world.
Even like created. A little peaceful.
Yeah. Less noise, and there's like all this different stuff. So I really appreciated that. One thing I haven't told Omar, again, these are kind of, we're hearing our first thoughts of each other as well throughout this podcast, but Omar, to me, I usually check the runtimes of movies to see like, okay, like how long is it going to be? Like, is like a story going to be really insane or something? I didn't check for this film. I was surprised that after the movie was over and how fast it was, I found out that it was 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and 25 minutes to be exact. It flew by for me. I was just so like engaged. I enjoyed everything that I was watching, and we were watching in Dolby Cinema. and it was just like, I don't know, everything was just super crystal clear. I freaking loved it. Again, I loved everything about like the world that they had set up, the Eagle clan. I really like that the apes are now evolving into, okay, each clan might have something unique.
Specialty.
Exactly, like being able to train eagles, being able to do this specialty, being able to do that. And also just finding ways, and you're kind of seeing it little by little every film, how they're evolving. And I was like, oh, dude, that's so cool. So, again, those are just, again, very high level. I'm not spoiling anything just yet, but I just really enjoyed those aspects of the movie. Omar, anything else high level, non-spoiler that you really enjoyed after you came out, or kind of you're on the same wavelength as I am?
Yeah, I mean the same.
Yeah.
I feel like anything I have to say is just gonna be, we're gonna cover it later.
Yeah,
anyways.
most definitely. Let's do it, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's dive into some of our pros, and then we'll kind of dive into some cons if we have any, and kind of sprinkle in a couple of other details. Just a warning, spoiler warning for anybody that has not seen it. Me and Omar will maybe dive into some details and explain some plots of the movie, just to kind of give you guys an overall picture as to what our thoughts were when we got out of the movie. So if you haven't seen it, definitely jump out, come back in when you watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But hope that's enough time. Omar, I'll pass it over to you, man. I want you to kind of start. What was like maybe a first pro that right out of the movie theater that you're like just kind of stuck out to you?
Oh yeah, you said it. The visuals, man. They use motion capture, right?
They did.
You can see so much emotion in their faces.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy, and just like their eyes, the way they move their mouths. It's like tiny things that look so, and it's a little eerie because it looks human-like, but they're apes. And
even the hair, dude. The hair when it moves, like when there was windy or breezy parts, like you could see those details, and like, but it doesn't look too fake. Where you're like, you know it's CGI, but it almost feels like very realistic. I'm
yeah.
like, oh.
But like you can see like the humanness behind their reactions.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like you see them and they look like apes, but then like their little micro reactions are human, and it's weird. It's kind of weird seeing it. It's kind of a little off-putting.
And what's crazy is that like how Omar described it, like those like kind of mannerisms that they do, like whenever you see like in the beginning of the scene when the Eagle clan gets invaded, and you see like the face that he has when he sees what his dad's gonna go through, and you're like, you can see like the emotion like that, like it all feels so crazy realistic like that, and like human.
The very beginning, like when 3 apes they're trying to get eggs. It's part of their tribe. Like once they reach a certain age, they capture eagle eggs and they take them with them. And when they see there's only 1 egg for each of them, but like part of their rule is you can't take all the eggs from the nest.
Yeah.
Because the eagles still have to survive.
Yep. Like
in the wild. And so they had to leave 1 egg, and you could see the look on all their faces that they're disappointed.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how good it looks, because it's obviously like CG, but it looks like these apes are actually there.
It's believable, and it makes you again, to me, that's like again very similar to Omar's Pro, because of how the visuals make every ape again very unique, and you can see what they're going through in their emotions. It makes you as an audience member believe it. You're like, damn, they are struggling to find figure out who's going to keep the egg, or they are struggling to figure out what their plan is going to be next when they have to, when their clan gets invaded and their home gets invaded. Like all this stuff is so believable, and they're like, I believe what they're going through, and you're like, damn, what would I do? And so man, dude, great Pro. That again, similar to mine, I had visuals as well. I did want to call out and kind of maybe piggyback off of what Omar said. Apart from the visuals, and I kind of called it out in my overall thoughts, the scenery of everything around this world is something that I really love the most. When you see that one of the specific clans, specifically the villain, I think his name is Proximus Caesar. His clan is based on a specific part of the ocean, on a bay, and they have cruise ships that are now part of the ocean. They're cruise ships that are broken down from humans, and they're I love that those kind of aesthetics where things that we use as humans are now left abandoned, and then they become part of the actual environment that the apes are living in. Right. I love those visuals. I also wanted to throw out there, to me it reminded me a lot of, I don't know if you feel this way, The Last of Us. The Last of Us kind of had that kind of, especially the show that they created for HBO Max, it had very similar scenery where things are overgrown, there's grass everywhere, things are dirty like that. This film didn't look that dirty. This film kind of still felt very natural and peaceful in a way. But and it just felt that was another thing to me. I don't know if you felt that kind of way, but it always kind of gave me Last of Us vibes in that way of post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic is always one of my favorite settings for movies. It's always interesting when mankind is dead,
exactly.
or dying off. Like those scenarios are always interesting.
Exactly. Omar, any other pro that you got on your side? I got a couple other ones, but I want to hear anything else since this is really our first time discussing.
I really like the sound design when the apes step.
Oh man!
And there's always a heavy thud when they step, and it makes them look scary.
Yeah. Because
apes are scary in real life. Like they could.
They're powerful.
Like they could rip your arms out.
Yeah.
Like effortlessly.
Yep.
It's shown, or it's not shown, but it's heard. Like whenever they're nearby, you hear these heavy steps, and it's scary. Like even people in the eagle tribe. Like first, we're introduced to the main character Noah.
Yep. And
then we're slowly being introduced to new characters in his tribe.
Yeah.
And even those new characters are scary.
Yeah.
Because they pop up out of like he'll be talking to even his dad's scary.
Yeah.
Because this big, heavy, and kind of emotionless.
His approach, how he walks up,
and then plus the heavy steps.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, all these apes are scary. I just like that choice. They feel very like heavy and big and strong.
Yeah. Love it. I got another one, and I do agree with Omar like that. I also like the soundtrack, or the score, really. I always enjoy when I can kind of hear the score, like whenever they were going through the nest for the eggs, like the tension that was filled with him trying to go to the top nest that was like, people were like, you went to the top nest? And then like, again, the score just playing as you kind of went through that. Like, I always enjoy those parts. It kind of adds a lot more attention to those areas. Omar, I was gonna not ask you, but tell you, one of my pros, and I don't know if you felt the same way as well, one of my pros was the chemistry between Noah and Raka, who is the other kind of like ape, like that comes in. Dude, to me, the second act when they were together, oh man, I thought that was so cool. Like he added, I don't know if again it was on purpose, but like the comedic part of it, like that, he kind of made things like not as intense.
Heavy,
yeah, because Noah's like, again, he's basically trying to find revenge. He's trying to find his clan, trying to get them back. He lost his father. It's super sad. And then you see Raka come in, and it just kind of goes upbeat like that, telling them the ways of Caesar like that, telling them like how people have lost their way and interpreted what Caesar meant in a different direction. And then but he has all these funny facial reactions as they're going through. Oh man, it's so cool. Like that. So that chemistry to me was one of my pros, and it just added so much to the characters. And then it makes you feel when something goes down in the second act, where it's like, oh come on, man. But yeah, again, I'll leave that for everybody that's listening. If you haven't seen it, again, definitely check it out. But I love that chemistry between the two.
Me too. Yeah, it was a good addition to have him.
Mr. Rome, any other kind of pros that you have on your side?
And one more thing about that.
Oh yeah, tell me
about Raka. You think he came out in the previous movies? Because remember when he said his name
and
there's like music in the background?
Yeah, it almost felt like a. It was definitely like an Easter egg. Oh,
it was like a big character introduction.
Yeah.
But how does that make any sense if this takes place centuries after Caesar?
Yeah. So I don't know. I will tell you this: after watching this movie, and because how much I enjoyed it, it does make me want to go back to know the lore of that too.
I was about to watch the other two a few days ago.
Yeah, but I agree. I think because of how they introduced him and the way they kind of just stuck the camera on the shot on him, and then the music, it has to be something significant. So I'm assuming he at least comes out maybe in the last one as well of the old Caesar trilogies.
How old is he then?
I don't know. That's another thing, is how old do these apes last like that? Like how is it a normal age span? Yeah, they never explained that, but maybe they did in the older movies. But yeah.
Should have watched them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Omar, anything else on pros? Anything else that you wanted to throw my way? I actually still have a couple that I wanted to throw your way too.
Yeah, let me hear.
The other one that I have is, although very simple, I completely understand. To me, the story, I enjoyed the story so much, but it's a simple story. Yeah. It's a guy that loses his family, has to go out to the villain, get it back, and then he ends up saving the day. Very simple. What I enjoyed the most is Proximus Caesar's plan. What he wanted to do. Like at first when we were going through it, and he explained, I want to get behind these gates. And I was like, and in the moment, I didn't get why he wanted to do that. Like what's so significant with this bunker or these gates that are being held back? And as the story went on and explained what he was trying to do, I loved it, because it's basically, he's again a typical villain that does not care about anybody else's opinions. All he wants is that, hey, you know what? As apes, we're evolving, but I want to evolve a little bit quicker. And I'm like, oh, that's a great move like that. And so he wanted basically to pull anything that was in that bunker, tanks, bombs, weapons that again were normally humans, but now he's like, you know what? My clan deserves that like that, and we should be the top of the food chain. when it comes to this new planet of apes. And I was like, I thought that was a genius plan. Somebody that wants to evolve even quicker. And I'm like,
and even it's even a little tragic.
Yeah, like, exactly.
He acknowledges that in the future, apes will dominate and they will have all this technology and they will be like the humans, how the humans were. But he knows the reality. He's not gonna make it that far. Like, and he was just born in the wrong time. Yeah. So it's almost like you can't put yourself in his shoes. Like, damn, I was born too early. Like, we're evolved, but we could be even more evolved. Exactly. And so you can understand why he's like hungry for this power.
Yeah, the confidence and like the hubris of like, oh, I'm meant to have all this power.
Yeah.
And then eventually at the end, he gets swallowed up by it like that and just ends up, going his way. I won't spoil too much, but something goes down. But that was one of them, Mr. Rome. The only other pro that I have was, and I really want to get your perspective on this. I kind of spoke about this when Raka meets Noah about explaining Caesar and what he truly meant about like how apes should be together, but not in an aggressive way.
Apes together, strong.
Exactly, dude. You're nailing these ape like impressions right now, man.
I hear this Proximus one.
Dude, tell us, man.
And cut this if it doesn't sound good.
This sounds good.
What a wonderful day!
I'm gonna leave it in there.
All right.
But what do you think about this? To me, it almost felt like it was how humans are early on with religion. When they pass down like something about like a messiah figure, look what happens when different clans interpret it in a different way. You have Proximus Caesar who basically says, hey, even when they kill apes, they're like, for Caesar. And then in the beginning of the movie, that's what I was like, why are they saying for Caesar if Caesar was the good guy in the other one? And then as the movie kind of went along and then you meet Raka and he explains, apes just start interpreting this in the wrong way. He never meant it to be like where we go against every other clan and only one clan should stand. It should be all apes, any clans all together. And so to me, dude, it reminded me, and maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but that was just my thought of like how, again, maybe Caesar in this universe is like that messiah figure and he's like explaining it, and then Raka's meant to, again, pass down the words of like, here's how it should be. And like how every clan will interpret that differently like that. Some will, again, use Caesar as like a more of a motivation to hurt. Other people will use it more to motivate compassion, but that's kind of how I got it.
Dude, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It was like parallel to religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caesar is this messiah figure, and then this is centuries later. And we could see like how information passed on through centuries can be
it's dangerous.
It could be almost, it turned into something else,
Yeah.
Like you don't know what the truth is anymore. Raka knows his truth, but then Proximus has his truth.
Exactly.
And he'll even kill for this. And we can see this in real life. Like people kill for the religion.
Exactly.
Like they lose track of the meaning.
Or they lose sight of like what is the true like North Star of like, oh, this is what we should be following. Like, man.
I did catch that.
Yeah. That to me, I really like that aspect. But yeah, man, those are all my pros. I think we covered a lot of good things. Again, I'm pretty sure people that are listening are noticing that we do really enjoy this movie. I had a great time and it was a blast. We do got to cover some cons though. Mr. Omar, if you don't mind, I'll start first.
Do it.
You know this one, but I'm kind of really curious to hear yours. One of my cons, and really the only con that I have, guys, is...
It's a spoiler too.
It's a spoiler. Yeah, spoiler. So again, make sure if you haven't seen it, definitely jump out and then come back in. But at the end of the movie, the film ends. Obviously, happy ending for Noah and his eagle clan. He's able to save the day. But there's also a human character named May. May is actually played by Freya Allen. And there's a point where they basically meet, Noah and May. They discuss about what had kind of gone down. And then they go their separate ways. And you then see at the end where humans are shown at these different types of satellite locations. And then they're able to now finally communicate with each other from across the world because of technology that May was able to find.
In the bunker.
And I told this to Omar, I couldn't even wait to the podcast. I was actually really not let down, but it was more of like I wish they didn't end it that way. Like, and I know this is going to sound cynical. The focus should be the apes. I don't want to see hope for humanity. As bad as that sounds, this isn't the movie for that.
It's over.
Exactly. We had our chance.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. The dinosaurs had their chance.
Right.
And then we came.
This is good. That's good. That's like if there was a human movie, Planet of the Humans, and then at the end of the movie, dinosaurs have. Oh wait, it's a happy ending for the dinosaurs too.
Yeah.
They might get back. They might come back.
Exactly.
No, it's over.
It's over. We had our chance. We made mistakes, whatever the mistakes were. But
that was the cause of our downfall, and that's it. Next up.
Exactly. That was, to me, again, showing hope for humanity was a con for me. I know it's going to sound weird. I know people will probably disagree, but I told that to Omar. I was like, I didn't need to see humans have a happy ending. I wanted to see Noah and his clan get a happy ending because they went through something. And yes, humans did go through something. They obviously lost their planet. But that's what happens.
But look, like, this is the 4th movie in this series, centuries in the future. It's way too far along. Not only have hope, but still have like satellite communication and still contacting each other throughout like all over the world. Yep. Dude, we're way too far in to have that. I feel like this is one of my cons too. I feel like there shouldn't have been any humans in the movie.
I agree. It would have been great if it was just apes like that, or like show May, but that's it. She's maybe one of the last remaining ones, or
like maybe 1-2 acts of the movie were my favorite parts. Up until like the middle of the movie, this movie was like, it was really, really good. Like almost like I didn't have anything bad to say about it. I thought it was like perfect. It was really interesting. It was really cool. Again, it was only apes.
Yeah.
I feel like you didn't need the humans.
Yeah. It to me again, it doesn't add anything besides just making it seem like, oh, just in case like people like get tired of looking at the apes, like here's humans. They're still here, and I'm like, I didn't need to know that. Like, I don't care about the humans. Like, I care about these, like, what other clans are there besides Noah's like that? Do they specialize in anything else like that? Like, what do they, like, I want to know more about these apes and what they're going through in this new planet.
I did like seeing the wild humans.
Yes.
The ones that were almost like cavemen.
Yes.
Where they couldn't speak. They're almost like animals. Like,
they're regressing. They're like going back to like Neanderthal, like caveman. I'm like, that was cool.
And that's what I think the original movie is. I think the original movie, the apes are like super superior, almost like humans. Yeah. And any humans that are left, they're basically like animals.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the direction we have to be going.
Yeah, I didn't need to see the satellite. I was like, oh man.
Or like there's still, or like hope at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're finally able to communicate with each other. Why? What's gonna happen? They're gonna come back?
I know. I don't want to come back. I just want to see apes. You know, like so that was. Again, that was a con for me. Mr. Omar, you just called it out, right? Like you said, you would have wished it would have been like no humans. Anything else? Any other cons that kind of came out to you, or were those kind of like similar to what I kind of described?
Yeah, it was that. Especially when May, right?
Yep.
She meets William H. Macy's character.
Yes.
Also, that part I feel like we didn't need either.
Really?
Yeah, even though I do like William H. Macy.
Yeah.
I like him in it.
What was his name? Trevathan? Trevathan.
What was interesting to me was only the apes.
Yeah.
I really didn't care about the humans. And then that whole part of the movie where he's stuck with his tribe.
Yeah.
Once they're captured.
Yeah.
For me, it slowed down there. Because up until that point, I thought it was paced really well.
Yeah.
It was exciting, and it had its emotional moments, its serious moments. The moments, even when it slowed down, it was still interesting.
Yeah.
And at that point, once they were captured, it was like kind of maybe towards the end of the movie, maybe the start of the 3rd act.
Yeah.
It was kind of. I feel like it slowed down, and it wasn't interesting.
I didn't feel that way. I get where you could see the slowdown because from like the 1st, 2nd act, it's just all uphill. And then you're right, when they get captured, you get to see him meet his mom and his friends again. And he's kind of getting to see like how they're basically slaves like that to Proximus Caesar. And so I could totally see how it slows down. To me, I just thought it was interesting. I still like when Trevathan was trying to convince May like, hey, you have to serve the apes in any way like that. So find yourself useful. I thought like, damn, this guy's just giving up. He's like he's like one of those humans who's like, hey, I just accepted that I've been taken captured by these apes that are smarter than me now. So I'm like,
that's how it should be. And I also felt like when they agreed, May, Noah,
one of the other like apes that were
Suna and Anaya.
Yeah.
When they agreed to, all right, we're breaking into this bunker, but we're gonna flood it.
Yeah.
That whole part, to me, it seemed really convenient. How Noah's able to reach May.
Yeah.
They're able to go down, plant bombs, escape, climb. Like, isn't there supposed to be like security, like watching these apes? It seemed really convenient to me, and that kind of took me out of the movie.
I can see that.
Like, I don't know if you like. I've seen videos about people who write for movies or shows, right?
Yeah.
and they always say like to write yourself into a corner and then try to get yourself get the characters out of that situation. And I feel like they didn't do this. Like, let's say you were writing for this movie, and these apes were stuck in the like a labor camp, like, or a concentration camp almost. I would think there would be ape security watching these apes, right?
Yeah.
Like, how? Because they were able to escape too. They were able to climb a mountain and sneak into the bunker. Like, no other ape has tried it before.
Maybe nobody's had that confidence. Nobody's had like the thought to actually do that like that, because they know that, like, hey, I'd rather just be safe, take the easy route. Maybe. I know that there wouldn't be anybody inside the bunker because they couldn't find anybody inside. But I get what you're saying. Like, as they're climbing, how is there nobody checking like that? Like, or how is nobody?
Or like, if they were able to climb out that way, like, couldn't they just escape?
They could, yeah. Like, couldn't they just gone like out and like away from the camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. My thought is that I get what you're saying. It was convenient for them to get into it. My thought is that their plan failed because I thought they were supposed to blow up the bunker while it was still night. Instead, they like opened it and it was already morning, and then all of the apes were already up. And I was like, wasn't the plan to like blow it up like in the middle of the night to catch them off guard and then flood it without even anybody knowing? And then like I noticed that when they opened the bunker, it was already daylight. I was like, what happened? Like, did they just mistime it like that? Like, did it take too much time? Like, that was the only thing that was kind of a little bit weird to me. I was like, but I get where you're coming from. It is very convenient that there was nobody there to stop them in any opportunity like that. Even when they were putting the powder.
Yeah. They're about to blow up the wall with like gunpowder, and nobody was around to watch that.
That's a good point. Mr. Roman, anything else? Any other cons?
No.
Else. I want to catch you off guard. I have 2 questions for you.
What?
That I want to ask you for your interpretation.
Okay.
If you don't have an answer, no worries. I don't feel like I have a true answer to this. So again, spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen the movie, but there's a moment where May and Noah are face to face at the end talking to each other. In the scene, May has a gun in her hand. I want to ask Omar, do you think that she had the gun in her hand because she thought that Noah was going to take her out because of almost killing his whole clan? Or do you think it was for another reason, like she just wanted to take him out just in case like something were to happen in the future? Like, what was your interpretation of why she was holding the gun as they were having that conversation, even though she was like teary-eyed, even though she was like very emotional?
My interpretation was that she brought it for like self-defense.
She thought that Noah was gonna
attack her because she almost did kill his whole tribe.
Yeah,
we saw like his whole tribe was in there.
Yeah, and she with second like guessing anything, she just basically blew it up like that.
Even though she did show remorse when she was standing there, you could see like the guilt in her face.
And she's like, I have no other choice.
But it was like no other choice. Yeah. So I thought maybe she thought Noah was maybe gonna attack her, and so that's why she brought a gun.
The only reason I asked is because when I watched it when we were in theaters, I was confused. Like, why does she have the gun like that? Like, does she feel like she almost feels like she can't trust Noah because she feels like maybe Noah now knows her and knows what she's trying to do. But that kind of makes sense in your perspective of like, because of what she did and basically leaving, not even trying to help any of the apes, that she feels like, okay, this guy's basically going to try to take me out. And instead he shows compassion, which kind of makes sense in my head. Second one, Omar, that I can't really think of is at the end of the movie, you have May delivered the chip, the drive to make the satellites work. And then you have Noah take Sana, I think, to the telescope. They both are looking up at space. Why would they be looking up at space? I was kind of confused as to why they would both be looking up at the stars. I know that Noah's looking at it because he's like so surprised with the telescope. But what's May? Why does May have to look up at the stars? That's just, again, thoughts that were kind of running through my head. I'm not looking for an answer, but I just wanted to know if you noticed that. Like, why are they both looking up? Like, are they saying that they're like, is the next step of evolution to like eventually go back into space? Or like I didn't know what that was, but I was like, I just kind of found it like kind of funny, like just both looking up at the sky, and I was like, why are they looking at the sky? And I was like, why are they both doing that? Yeah. So I was like, I don't know, just random thought.
No, it's good. I just thought it was like so they could look like they're mirroring each other.
Yeah.
Just have like a nice shot to end the movie.
Yeah.
2 characters, but in 2 different places. Looking up.
I just thought it was very like interesting. I was like, why do they look at the stars? Anyway, well, those are my weird thoughts.
When the original movie, the astronauts come down from space. Those are the main characters of the movie, I think.
So they do come from space, huh?
Yeah.
Man.
Where Earth is all different.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe they're alluding to that. You never know, man. Never know. Anyway, those guys were our pros and cons, random thoughts that I was thinking about in the movie. Before we kind of recommend whether we will want you guys to watch it in theaters, I did want to call out what were our favorite performances or our favorite moments. Mr. Rome, any favorite performance, like from a specific ape or human character that you saw in the film that you really enjoyed?
Dude, Rocco was my favorite character.
Give me a high five. Rocco was my favorite character too. Again, cool. He came in with such like he had this presence like that. Like everything he said, I believed. I was like, yeah, man.
It's such a cool character and funny.
Yeah, dude, all the facial reactions, all the things that he would do, I was like,
and he pretty much taught Noah almost like
Caesar's way.
Yeah,
the compassion like that, working together, like not doing it for revenge, but doing it for like the right reasons. And like, oh man. Yeah, man, that was my favorite character. I'd also give a shout to Noah. I thought he was a cool character, but I think Rocca just, for me, took it. The actor is Peter Mackin. Again, he killed it as Rocca. Again, maybe if we watch the previous Planet of the Apes, maybe he comes out.
Maybe even cooler.
Yeah, even better. Maybe they show even more screen time of him. So he was our favorite performance. Mr. Rome, favorite moments of the movie?
Favorite moment is when Proximus' tribe attacks the Eagle tribe.
At the beginning.
Oh man, that scene was so cool.
It was great.
Because you see Noah running after them. And he's going on foot because they took his horse.
Yeah.
And he's running all the way back. And there's a nice shot where the hill and then the sky. And then you just see his silhouette running.
Yes.
And he just looks exhausted. And when he gets there, it's already all on fire.
Yep.
And one of my favorite shots, one of his friends or something is grabbing him. And then somebody ape on the horse gets him with the rope and
drags him.
But since he's grabbing onto Noah, they both go flying.
That was a great shot.
That was really good because it was like one shot.
Yeah.
That was a really cool scene.
You just reminded me of another pro. The visual effects of them riding horses. God, everything looked so real too. Yeah. They were riding horses every time, and even that looked legit when they were riding them. I was like, man, dude, so many good stuff. My favorite moments. Omar, if you listen to them, the previous episodes, I'm always talking about action scenes that I love.
Okay.
And the battles with the one general that Proximus Caesar has, and then facing off against Proximus at the end, like I really enjoyed these fight scenes because of the way that like how he had to like go through water. Even those water scenes, like when he was running through, everything looked realistic, going through the pipes. And then I loved at the end the basically them calling the Eagles and having the Eagles attack Proximus Caesar to drag him off. They don't even have to do anything. They just have to do their freaking call. And then it was like doing like the Eagle clan call. And I was like, oh man.
The payoff.
Yeah, dude. I really enjoyed those back to back. He takes out the general, then he takes out Proximus Caesar like that with all the Eagles. So I'm like, oh, that was so cool, man.
That gorilla general was also cool. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah. They bamboozled me. I thought he was going to be the villain.
I thought he was the leader. I thought it was the main villain.
Yeah.
But every scene he came out in he was scary.
He was.
Like when he fought his dad. And then when they were chasing May.
Yeah.
And then on the bridge. Every scene he was in, he was good. Like he was a scary villain.
You could say that he had the heaviest steps like that. You know, like the sound design.
Hell yeah. He was the biggest one.
Oh man. So guys, those were our favorite performances, favorite moment. I'm pretty sure you can already tell. But Omar, recommendations? Would you recommend people go check out in theater or wait for streaming?
Theater to hear those heavy steps.
Oh yeah, exactly. Guys, check this out in theaters. The visual effects are, man, second to none. Probably one of the best that I've seen, at least in my personal opinion, in theaters this year. It's just incredible, man. I mean, we've seen some good ones too. Civil War, Dune. We've seen a lot of different movies like that use those visual effects. And dude, this one's, man, it's so realistic. But yeah, definitely would recommend if you guys have a chance, check it out in IMAX, Dolby Cinema, whatever you guys feel. All right, well, guys, I think we've reached the last segment, and it's probably one of the most important ones. Can we decide if this film is timeless? Now, I've cheated a couple of times, even when Omar's been here. Sometimes I say that it has potential to be timeless.
What?
Again, I'll try to do my best to see if I can jump from the fence like that and choose a side. Omar, I'll start with you. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You've watched it. You've given us your pros and cons. Is it a timeless movie for you? Can you see yourself rewatching in the future?
I would want to, but these human scenes, they kind of kill it for me. Like, I would really want to rewatch the first half over and over again.
Yeah.
If it were all apes, the entire movie, I would consider this timeless. But
yeah,
there's like a bunch of human scenes that I don't like, so I wouldn't call this timeless.
So I will say that this movie has potential to be timeless, but I actually am going to say that this is a timeless movie for me. Yeah. Although I agree with Omar, the human scenes at the end don't ruin the movie for me, but I don't want to see humanity have hope. It's over like that. This is the Planet of the Apes. This is their movie. That's what I want to focus on. So, although again I agree that ending kind of like again doesn't ruin it for me, but it kind of leaves me with like a little bad taste of like I don't want to see that, or I don't want to see the next film focus on half humans, half apes. No, I just want to focus on the apes.
All apes.
Now I get why they might want to, because it just makes sense, right? Who's gonna be the enemy then? Humans, right? It has to be if there was a second film made. Right? It can't just be apes against apes all the time. There has to be another enemy. Humans have to be it. So
can't always be like that, though.
I know, but I'm just trying to think of like other ways of how they can kind of continue the story. But just to get to the final bit of it, again, to me, I do see myself rewatching it. But Omar, I wanted to tell you, I feel like the reason I consider it timeless is because I haven't seen the other three. Because I don't know what was shown before, how the stories went. This is, again, really my first true Planet of the Apes movie.
Right.
So to me, it feels like, again, they hit everything. The story was so simple, but so, like, again, believable and straightforward. The visual effects were on point. The action was there. The sound design, music, everything just kind of hit, except for the humans. But to me, I think, and that's, again, but I'm thinking it's because I haven't seen the prior movies. And I don't know if that would change once, because now it makes me do want to go back to see the Caesar trilogy. Yeah. And I wonder if it changes.
That's actually interesting. Like, you might have a new favorite. You might have one you like more than this.
Exactly. But then I start thinking, if humans was the part that I didn't like, I'm assuming that the other ones have way more humans than this. Because you have the first one with like the initiation. You have like
I feel like it made more sense there. Because it was like recently after.
It was recently after, yeah.
This is centuries. This movie's centuries after that.
Oh man. But that's, again, my opinion. Again, that could definitely change after I watch the other films. And like I told Omar, I think I do want to go back and watch those first three films.
Me too.
Just to kind of get a feel for them and see how those stories are. But as of this moment, I can definitely see myself watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Dude, I'm not that I'm like already thinking about it, but this year's timeless list at the end of the year is going to be tough.
It's really
because
tough.
We've already watched so many good movies, and we're only halfway through.
Damn.
There's so many other ones to watch. It's crazy, man. But that's for another day, you know? That's future Omar and Victor's problems with that. We don't have to deal with that. But guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Most importantly, let us know what your thoughts are. Have you gotten a chance to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? What are your thoughts? Is it timeless? Is there other ones in the trilogy that are better? Let us know. We definitely want to hear those, and we'll go ahead and check it out just so we can kind of interact as well. But Omar, appreciate you joining me again. I can't wait for episode 75.
Yeah.
Can't wonder what that episode's going to be. But again, appreciate you coming in and giving us your thoughts. I hope you had fun. My name is Victor Vasquez. This has been Omar Vasquez as well. This has been episode number 70 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out next week's episode as we cover a new movie and we decide whether it is timeless. All right, guys. Catch you later.